Okay, I am Ken Dickey. This is Cuis Smalltalk, and this is, I think, segment 5 on how to make color palettes. When we last stopped, we found out how to use have color give us color names that were in a dictionary but weren't methods. And now we want to find out how to uh, cash the check on something else. So if I take a look here at this little color little rectangle here, rectangle like morph, and I say change color just to remind, it says can't do it. We have and it says it's please use color. It's currently disabled, so we want to undisable that. And so we're going to open a workspace and feature require uh, morphic misc1, when this is going to bring in a whole bunch of morphs, which are basically hit Command D for do it. So that's basically a bunch of things that are widgets that you use to put together to make other morphs for the most part. But amongst those, we're going to see palettes, and we can throw that away. We don't worry about that. And now, if I come here and say change color, we have something different happens. Okay, so now we have color dictionary, and it says click to select a color for a rectangle-like morph, and it gives a number so we can tell if we have multiple rectangle-like morphs up here, one from another. And let's see, so I can come down here and choose a color at semi-random and click on it. And now we either have a pop-up, we can either cancel, say forget the whole thing, or we can invoke some method that has color in the name and takes one argument. And so if we say, yeah, set the color, and here we are with goldenrod. Let's see, we better do truth in advertising here. So if we take another morph from, let's have a bordered rect morph this time. And if we come up here and change the color here and make that some other color, wintergreen, how about jade green just for fun. So see this also allows us to set the border color, and you notice it's a fairly faint green outline there. So we can in fact when we're going to change the color, determine based on the particular morph what okay, here's highlighter green, do that, what particular selector to do, what particular color setter we can use, and make interesting things happen there. Okay, so that's what happens. How do we make this happen? So what I'd like to do is to go through, in terms of the mechanics, uh, to bring up a menu and then look inside the menu. Let's see, let me make this a little less busy. And if since this is also a morph, I can bring up, and instead of doing an inspector for the morph, which just shows the instance variables in this particular morph, I'm going to do explore morph. And explore morph allows me to drill down. And let me get rid of this so we don't clutter ourselves much. And just like the file explorer, file list, we can go and click and open up and say, okay, what are the submorphs? And we see that, oh, actually, I guess I shouldn't have gotten rid of that quite that fast. Uh, Yeah, send to back, bring to front. So you can see that all of these things that we can select, the menu items, are actually morphs that each present themselves, send to back, bring to front, change color, and so forth. So if I want to see what's happening with color, then I can again drill down. Notice the morph knows its owner. Uh, it has a particular location within its parent based on 0, 0 in the upper left corner. And it has some label to put up there like change color and a target. It knows which particular, notice this is the green and not the hazel rod there. It knows which particular morph is being talked about, if you will. And there is a selector, change color. Okay, so what one would suspect that when you're selecting one of these methods to apply to this bordered rect morph, that it has it to change color, that the change color selector is what's being invoked. So let's figure out what that does, and to do that we're going to go take a look and open a message names browser, and if we say change color in here, the cursor has to be over the thing we're doing things, and hit return, then we find that there are uh, two classes that implement that particular color thing. If we take some less of this out and see there's want to see all of the selectors in the system that have the word change in the title, then you see we've got actually quite a list of things. Uh, so let's go change code, get the first thing, and we'll go ahead and take a look at more of change color. So we've gone from the morph to the menu to opening up the menu to being able to find a selector, which is change color. And so what change color does on a morph is say, I'm going to get the click selector colors for the particular morph for myself, since I'm a morph. This is a morph here. And we're going to bring up an image palette. So if we take a browse on the image palette, we now can see what an image palette is and what it does. And one of the things here is the within the instance view that originally comes up is the class comment. And so you can see that there are various different types of image palettes one can put up. So if you do it on one of these, in this particular case, you see we can get a palette of icons. So there's all kinds of palettes of images you might want to use, and color is just one of these. And so we can take and drag and drop and actually make this embed into the rectangle like morph, and so now we can put things together and do all kinds of great things. So just to see that there are other things. So if we want to take a look at the named colors, which is what we started out with here, we need to go over the class side and we find named colors. And so what does that do? So now we're going to see how we put together a palette. So what's happening here? So first of all, we make a special collection with a sort block which says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and based on the hue and saturation, order the colors to be shown, and then add for all of the colors in the color name dictionary. We go ahead and add them, and as they're being added, then they're sorted, which is handy. And then we're going to make an image palette from the sorted colors collection with a filter that says I want a drop color morph for each of these with a particular image, slightly magnified, perhaps with a particular with that particular color, and that gets added. And then we end up with an image panel, and we go ahead and we add some stuff to the panel, and then we go ahead and open it up in the world. So drop color morph, if we browse that, hello, here we are, browse it. Okay, so we take a look at a drop color morph. It's a type of an image morph to be picked up and dropped on another morph, which changes the morph's color to my color, and we want to see method drop action. So the drop action, click, first of all goes and finds, takes the drop target, the morph that it's talking about, and goes as a bit of metaprogramming. This is why you don't just compile away all the metadata you'd like to be able to look at and examine and do things. It goes ahead and takes the drop target and with all of its superclasses, so it looks up, collects all of the particular methods for that target and its all of its ancestors, and grabs the selectors out of that, finds the ones that match for color with a followed by a colon, and do not have multiple arguments. They only have one argument and they have color in the name. And so that's what's happening here. Little regular expression search on that. And if there's only one color setter, you just go ahead and do that. Otherwise, that's the perform thing. It's basically like typing into your REPL, the read eval print loop, or so forth. Otherwise, what you typically get is an ordered collection with cancel that has all the color setters, and you put up a pop-up menu, choose color setter, and you choose some choices. If it's cancel, you do that. Otherwise, you go ahead and perform that setter with the color, and then you say, hey, something changed here, so anybody who's registered an interest in changes to this morph can react to it. So again, if I come here and select change color, that brings up a palette. Within the palette, if I drill down here, I'm going to find at some point a click color morph, and if I go to the and open an inspector on that, then we see that, and this is this balloon text is the help text for that, so it's a bright light green, 16 by 16 colorable swatch. It has an image, and the color target morph is this particular bordered rect morph over here. So each of these little squares is a click color morph that knows its color. It knows its name, as a tooltip, and it knows the morph that it's going to change if you click on it. Okay, so that's how that sort of thing threads together. And I guess I should show the basic instruction on what's going on here. So from collection image filter, if I ask here to show implementers of this particular method, it happens to be an image palette, so no, not a big surprise. And so the class just asks, creates an instance, and then does a collection filter. And so let's go look at the instance side, and collection filter. We're just going to go ahead, quickly drill down through this. So what this method does to create this guy, well, to fill in the blanks, so to speak, is first do some guard code to make sure that we're not difficult with empty collection or something it's too large to possibly display safely. Uh, and then it goes ahead and finds the size of something it needs to display, and from that size, the size of the display screen, it calculates a display extent, an XY area that it's going to need to display things, and figures the number down, the number across of images of whatever it is, and then it goes ahead and takes each of those images and places it and with the layout. So it just places those in rows based on the calculated extent. So that's just the basic mechanics of coming through here and having some collection of images, which is then laid out. And in this particular case, the images are these color click morphs, and they all know about which particular uh, morph they're associated with and going to do something to. So this is all good. That's just sort of the basics of the mechanics of how things come here and how to find out from one place to another what things are going on with between the uh, the class and the message names and those sorts of things and the objects themselves. And next time I'm going to talk about metamorphs. You know, uh, well, not meta properties, pardon me. And meta properties allow me to take this simple menu and make it into a more complex menu where the things one is doing uh, end up being, for the visual aspect, easier to deal with. And we'll talk about that next time. So please click on the next one. Thank you.